Y'all can hear the music, can't you?
Yeah, we can.
I don't know if I get to see the comments today.
Yeah, you'll see them. Hey, Coach, you got to use proper English today. This is a Howard broadcast, Coach. You can't be using all that slang and past participles and all that kind of stuff, man. You gotta, and you gotta sip with your pinky out, Coach.
Oh, it's like this?
Yeah, with your pinky out.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
All right.
I can't hardly hear it.
You can't hear the music? What about there? You got it there? I'd like to welcome everybody to a very special episode of HBCU Coaches Corner, where we're interviewing tonight the current head coach of the Howard Bison. I'm on here with two of the most famous guys in HBCU media. One is the historian himself, Mr. Campbell. He does about 15 shows a week, and he has all the relevant information. Tonight, we're actually taking the time slot of his feature show, which is Sipping on Sunday. So we're gonna do a little HBCU Coaches Corner on Sunday, and y'all know our featured host. The reason why this show even exists is my man, Johnny Cole.
You show me, I gotta see. Yeah, you got your pinky out.
Yeah. You got your pinky out, Coach.
You got a Howard grad, and sir, I got to make sure that we speak great English.
No Coke 45 today, guys. No Coke 45.
Yeah,
no Cisco.
Yeah.
No MD 2020. It's all Dom Perignon and Pinot Grigio.
Look, Coach sipping on Sunday himself. It is sipping on Sunday. Coach is sipping.
Yeah. I can't look. It's a shame. I got my man, and I ain't even been invited to the show yet. And I've been
listen. Not Rocky. Now you know we can't find him on the last couple of stuff. We couldn't even find him. He was all across the world.
He done been all over the world. He done got married. He done went on vacation, and he done renewed his vows already. You know what I mean? So hey, Coach. Hey, he been traveling the world, and so that's why we wasn't having HBCU Corner. It was suspended because Coach wasn't available, you know. But I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad Mr. Campbell gave him something to watch while we were on hiatus, man. So
no question, man. That show was hot, man, and they getting it done, man. I can't wait till the season start. Shoot,
we got a lot of good things coming on. So and let me just do something real quick. Shout out to my boy Zoe Phillips, who got married yesterday. Him and his lovely wife tied the knot.
Congratulations. Let's give some a round of applause.
You know, so that's why I'm sipping on Sunday this weekend.
I'm surprised they ain't get married at Jackson State 50-yard line.
Now listen, his wife probably said we get. That I think they had that winning door just to get away from some of them 50-yard line Jackson State folks. Okay.
Okay. I know he loved Jackson State, so I thought maybe they'd be in the locker room on campus.
I think his wife said, you ain't wearing that J hat today.
Hey, at the 50-yard line with Dion officiating the ceremony. You know what I mean? You know, but nah, man. Congratulations to Zoe, man. It's a wonderful thing, man, to find someone to spend the rest of the life with. Hey, guys, I'm telling you, we on the roll here, Coach. We got one more. We got one more one domino that need to fall. We got Zoe hooked up. We got Coach hooked up. We got one more guy.
Yeah.
That we got to get hooked up soon. I'm not gonna name no names, but we almost all married men here. Except for one. So we got one more to go. Matter of fact, just think this show's when this year started, there were 3 bachelors and one guy that was married. Myself, now there are 3 married guys and 1 bachelor. And so God is really working on this show. He really moving mountains on this show right now.
Hey, listen, I appreciate the sanctity of marriage. And one day I hope to join you young men, but it won't be today.
Hey, all right, Coach. We got a guy, we bringing a guy on here who is kind of, in a way, following your footsteps, Coach. And this is what I mean by that, is that you once, after being a very accomplished player at your alma mater, a quarterback, you went back to coach your alma mater at TSU and went on to win a championship. I see in this era of college football, we've had T.C. Taylor, a former quarterback who ultimately was a wide receiver, come back to his alma mater, win a championship, right? And because of that success, we've also had guys like Quinn Gray return to his alma mater.
Yes.
And before him, Eddie Robinson returned to his alma mater. And I'm missing one.
Trey Oliver. Trey
yeah.
Oliver. Don't forget about Trey Oliver now.
Yeah, Trey Oliver returned to his alma mater. And I'm still missing one. I'm missing the quarterback that came back, but it'll come to me. The guy we about to interview. So, Coach, before we get started, Coach, and you can go ahead and go into your introduction after this. What does hiring an alum do to the fortunes of the football team? This rarely happens in big-time college football, but it seems like on the HBCU level, it happens more and more frequently. And why is it important to have an alumnus at the helm?
Well, first of all, when you bring any alum back on campus, it's a good thing. He's going to bring people that know him at the university. You're going to bring a guy that knows where the restroom at, so he got a jump start. Hopefully that he's played in the program, in the football program, and kind of knows some things that, and especially a championship alumnus, and that's who we're gonna bring on. But I think it's everybody wants to be a part of it. I think it helps fundraising out greatly. I always say people give money to people. They don't give money to buildings. They give money to people. They feel more comfortable of giving. That's why when you see these rich people giving money out, 9 times out of 10, they know somebody at that place that they're giving money for and to. So I think it's very important. I think if you can walk through the university, man, you should always be first choice. Every PWI championship team that I've seen and that hired their own, they always do a great job of raising money and also taking those teams to a higher level.
All right, Coach. Well, this next gentleman is definitely an alumnus of his alma mater, an esteemed alumnus of his alma mater, a championship alumnus of his alma mater. And you can go ahead, Coach, and he's your personal friend, Coach. So
yeah,
you can do it on.
Ted White, man, is an outstanding person first, an outstanding coach. And he's been on all the levels. He's done everything that people have asked him to do, become the young man, get out of warm-up suits at different things. He, make sure you're well-groomed, you speak well, go to camps and clinics. I mean, this guy's done it all. Also tonight, want to say he is SWAC, even though he didn't play in SWAC. He from Baton Rouge, right across the street from Southern University. I watched him all the way through his career. He want to make sure I tell everybody that he's way better than Jay Walker, and he knows the game. So we want to make sure. So if Jay is making SWAC Hall of Fame, then he should be the next one. But without further ado, man, brilliant mind, great offensive coordinator, my friend, and just a guy that I love to see work, and he loves the game. Ted White. Thank you.
Man, I appreciate that introduction. You guys make me feel welcome on the show.
Man, Coach, man, I watch you, man. You just a football machine. Clinics and stuff that you go to. How you weren't like one of those young guys where you had to pull. You kind of pick things up as you seen them and dress the way you're supposed to, look the way you're supposed to. At least you know what they tell us to do.
Yeah.
But that's you. You know what I'm saying? And going to Howard wasn't no easy task. You have to go through with some smarts, man.
Absolutely, man. And I appreciate the introduction. And man, I want to first and foremost thank you guys for having me on the show. I've always watched the show for a minute and always, wondered when it was going to be my time. And, just getting an opportunity to come from Baton Rouge, Louisiana and go to Howard, it's definitely been a blessing. As you mentioned, Johnny, just being back at your alma mater, is always something special. You get an opportunity to go back to a place that you started your journey at, and you get an opportunity to just see some of the people who've been able to shape your life, and being able to see the old teachers that was there, the equipment managers, the coaches that were there, and it's been a blessing to be able to get back. And President Wayne Fredericks, he was also a Howard alum. And when this opportunity came about, it was a no-brainer for me to be able to come back and give kids the same opportunity that I had when I was at Howard University.
Now, was he at Howard when you were there?
No, he's a little older than me. He's a little older than me. He was on the soccer or dealing with the soccer team at the time, but we've always known each other. And when the call came with the opportunity to be the head coach at Howard University, obviously I had to talk with my mom, with my wife, and with my family about it, and just be able to pray about it. But it was a no-brainer for me just to get an opportunity to come back, and again, just being able to change the kids' lives that sit in the seat that I once sat in.
Yeah, Coach, I've been in that seat before. I'm gonna take you back when they finally gave you the job. You finally sitting in. They still got the same coach's office.
They still got the same coach's office.
When Steve Wilson was there as well.
Steve Wilson was there. That was my coach.
You sitting in that office, and now you came back from the press conference, man. How did you feel?
I was excited. So last year I was the quarterback coach at University of Maryland. So, I got a chance to coach one of the best, brightest young quarterbacks, Malik Washington, who I think is going to be an NFL player at some point. But I got the call from Wayne Fredericks, and they offered me the job. Pep Hamilton, who was the offensive coordinator at Maryland, he's also the Howard alum. And, he was there when the call was made. And, boy, we hugged and we cried because, just the joyful feeling that you have, just having an opportunity to come back to your alma mater. And we immediately jumped in the truck and we rode over there. We rode over to the school. Now, Johnny, during Christmas break, on HBCU campuses, there's nobody there, Yes. So, we get to the office and, to my prepare, the offices were locked, Yeah. The offices were locked. So we had to get someone to come open the offices. And, we just kind of walked around and just saw the lay of the land and immediately started to get to work. I got the director of football operations guy over there, the recruiting lady who had been doing the recruiting for the team. And we talked over the roster. We talked about some kids that were in the portal that we had to get back out. We talked about some recruiting. And then I wanted to be able to obviously talk to the AD and just kind of talk about my staff and be able to bring some guys on board. Because during that time, when I got hired, we were late. We were late recruiting. And in January, obviously recruiting is the lifeline of any coach. And being able to get ahead in December to talk about some guys that can be potential targets, we were late on. So it was important for me just to be able to get a staff in. Obviously some guys who have the same values that I have. Obviously some guys who are great teachers, but most important, some great recruiters. And I was able to get some guys in and we started to hit the road running.
Yeah. See, I seen you as a high school player too over at Glen Oaks, and that mid-90s Howard classes, you and Jay and Flea and Pep, and I came to a camp out there one time that Steve Wilson was. You guys are close, and y'all got this. Y'all have y'all packages, I guess.
Yeah.
Y'all systematic way of doing things. Have that helped you through your career, and how much of that are you bringing back to Howard?
I'm gonna try to bring majority of it back to Howard. We were family, and that was one beautiful thing about Howard University. When I came on my recruiting trip in 1994, and I got off in DC Airport, Pep Hamilton was the first guy that I met waiting for me off the tarmacs to come to Howard University. 1993, Howard University was national champions, Black College national champions, and the hotel that we stayed at for recruits. I got a chance to first meet Jay Walker, and getting an opportunity to sit in the back of the room, and think he had recently just signed with the New England Patriots and got drafted by the New England Patriots. I thought it was a great deal. Talking to Steve Wilson, a guy who not only graduated from Howard University, but he played in the NFL also. He played receiver and he played defensive back. So it made it cool to go to Howard University knowing that you had an opportunity to not only graduate, but had an opportunity to go to the National Football League. And I had guys in my vision that had an opportunity to do that with Steve Wilson and Jay Walker. Not to mention that Pep Hamilton was not only a great quarterback, but he was a damn good coach also that has helped me along the way throughout this process.
Yeah. I know you've been on the
be able to catapult that to 3 and 4 reps to get an opportunity to plan on an NFL football team. But at some point, that's going to be an expiration date on that. And it's my job as a coach just to make sure that these kids have a successful life, not just a successful career in football.
Yeah. And, I'm letting the audience know you also, coached on the pro level. And so, and you've seen rookies come in.
They would get rid of the coach rather than get rid of the player, and that's the business that we're in. And I definitely understand that.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that you could talk from a player, a HBCU player, a quarterback, a coach in the pros. So when a kid comes, he's just not getting a guy that's there learning on the job. You know the job, you know why he's there, you know what that kid needs. You could tell him ahead of time. I just want to make sure that you've been a week there, getting in, turning things. The thing about it, though, you knew where the restroom at before you got there. How you feel after the first week of practice?
I'm excited, Johnny. I'm really excited. I think we're trending upwards. Just getting an opportunity, first and foremost, when I first got in, to be able to get my strength and conditioning coach. That's one. All right. And at HBCU football, the thing that we sometimes lack is offensive and defensive line. So that was one of my main hires, being able to get my strength and conditioning coach and making sure that we had a great off season to build a culture where we need to build it to be able to go into it with a good spring. And I'm going into the backstory because it's going to bring you to training camp. And we had a great spring. We sold the spring game out, and it was my point to make sure that a lot of alums, and that's the benefit of being an alum at a school, that everybody wants to be able to give back, just from a financial standpoint. The alums are coming back to be involved with the football program. It was a lot of internships that were given this year because just guys want to be involved with the football program. But to answer your question, yes, this week was, really exciting for me because you get an opportunity to now get ready for a football game in August. It was our first week in training camp. I loved every bit of it. I loved every bit of the installs. I loved every bit of the process. I loved every bit of the competitiveness that the offense, the defense, and special teams had. It's a challenge to coaches, and I challenged our coaches every single day to, we want to get these guys better. We want to get these guys better as an individual. We want to get these guys better as a unit. And obviously, as a team, we want to make sure that we put a product on the field that not only can compete for games, but we want to win games, and we want to definitely dominate games. And we feel like we have the personnel to be able to do that.
Yeah, I got one last question because I know. I got a stat guy over there, and I got one guy up top. He don't even know nothing about HBCUs, but you're a championship player. You've been around championship teams. I already know the answer, but you got some people that don't know the game, and they think, "Oh man, we got Ted back. It's championship or bust." Do you see championship yet?
I see progress.
Okay.
I see progress, and if you have progress and you get kids to believe, they can do anything if they believe. I feel like it's not one player that can really take us to a championship, but I feel like all 11 guys pulling the rope in the right direction would give us an opportunity to compete for a championship. As we know in Black college football, it is a very competitive schedule. As HBCUs, you got to play these Big Ten schools, and you got to play just different programs to be able to raise money for your program. But it also gives you an opportunity to compete against the best in the business. All right. So with the MEAC, it's 6 teams. We get an opportunity to play and see who's the best team at the end of the year to get an opportunity to go to the Celebration Bowl. And I'm telling you this because, we feel like we can compete with the best in the league. We feel like we can compete with the best in the league as coaches. We feel like we can compete with the best in the league as players. And we were 4-8 last year. After going back and evaluating things that were happening last season on the football field, some games were lost that should have been won. And we feel like that we can really be able to turn the corner with those young players that were playing last year, got another year experience, and now they have an opportunity to put a better product on the field.
Okay. Well, I'm going to turn you over to my guys. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, let me ask you this here, Coach. I'm looking at your coaching staff that you assembled. It seems to me that what you did was brought in some offensive guys, but you pretty much kept the defensive staff intact. Can you kind of share with us what were your thoughts in making those decisions, those coaching decisions?
Well, when I came in, obviously I'm an offensive guy, but I wanted to be able to bring some guys in that I've known for a long time. I wanted to bring some guys in who were very familiar with the Howard culture, but I also wanted to bring some guys in who were big-time ball players, but had an opportunity to coach at lower-level schools because we don't have all of the resources that you would have at P4 schools. So I didn't want nobody coming in and complaining and say, "Oh man, we don't have any facilities, or we don't have this and that." We knew that walking in the door, So at Howard, we feel like, again, we are one of the most prestigious schools in the country. All right. And do we have the best facilities in the country? Not at all. All right. But we do. I feel like we have the best students. I do feel like that we're able to get some of the best athletes, all right, to play and win a national championship. And it was important for me to make sure that I got guys around me that were great teachers, guys who obviously were great developers, guys who were leaders of men, family guys who understood exactly what the coaching field was about, because we spend more time with each other than sometimes we spend at home. Right. And I needed some guys who obviously can beat the bushes and some great recruiters. And that made me go get Jimmy Johnson, the first guy who is a Howard graduate. He played with the Washington Redskins. He won 2 Super Bowls. He's a winner. He's a leader of men. But most importantly, he can control the room. And guys are going to listen to him with this experience. Bob Whitfield, offensive line coach. Bob played in the National Football League for 15 years. He's a great player. He was a great player. He's a great teacher. The guys respect him. He has a skin in the game because players know that he played the position that he's coaching. Not only that, but he coached at Morehouse last year. So he coached at a lower level school. He understood exactly how to develop players and get them to reach their full potential. Tim Morris, who's our running back coach, he came with me from the University of Maryland. Tim was a great recruiter. Not only he's a great recruiter, but he's a great teacher, and he understands just the Maryland and DMV landscape in recruiting. Eric Frazier, Eric Frazier is my wide receiver coach. Eric Frazier coached with me at UCLA. He's from Philadelphia. Pennsylvania. He's a great teacher. He's a family guy, but he's into the loop of the offense that, we've been implementing at Howard University. And John Thomason. John Thomas is another Eric Bieniemy disciple. He worked with the Washington Commanders. He worked with me as my assistant quarterback coach at UCLA, but he also worked at North Carolina Central. He worked at Morgan State. So not only he's a great recruiter, he's a great leader of men, and he understands the conference landscape. On defense, I thought continuity was really the best thing that I wanted for our defense. A hidden gem, Keyshawn Jarrett, a guy who was a defensive coordinator last year with us. He's a great teacher. The players respect him. He's a great recruiter. He's a family guy. He's a leader of men, and he is going to be one of the head coaches that you'll see in college football in the future. Dale Cassette, who's our defensive line coach, graduated from University of Maryland, played with the Washington Commanders. Is another guy who's a great teacher, is known for developing defensive linemen, and he's a leader of men. The guy that came with me from University of Maryland, Marcus Thomas, he's coaching my cornerbacks. Marcus is from Florida. Marcus is a great recruiter. He's a great communicator. He's a leader of men. He's a family guy. He's a developer. All right, and I trust him. Nick Gould, who was the recruiting coordinator last year, who's our linebackers coach. He has a staple on the DMV recruiting. He has a relationship with a lot of the high school coaches that are in the DMV area, and he has a staple on a lot of the players that have left the city but now have an opportunity to come back and want to be close to home for his transfers. And who else? DJ Hill. DJ Hill's a high school coach, and as you mentioned, Johnny, he's a high school coach that I've known for a while, that I met at a clinic. And this is a young, bright kid that wanted to be a college coach, and I wanted to give him his opportunity because I saw how hungry he was, and I saw how detailed he was with everything that we talked about just from a defensive perspective. So that rounds out just the full-time coaches. My special team coach, Keith Burns. Keith Burns is a Tennessee State graduate. He coached at Tennessee State also. And Mike Andrews, who's my assistant special teams coach. So with that group, I feel really good about, because I can lead a building, Johnny, as you know, you want to be able to go to a press conference, or you want to be able to go talk about the opponent that you have coming up for that Saturday. And you want to know that everything is still moving as status quo in the building, right? And you want to know that your players are still having an opportunity to get developed, and your message is being spoken throughout the building. And I feel like with my staff, I have not only one of the best staffs in HBC football, I have one of the best staffs in football. And I tell them that every day. I appreciate them. And these guys work tirelessly to make sure that they're giving us everything that we have every single day.
Hey, Coach, that was a great explanation to the question I had. You went in great detail, Coach. Let me ask you this, Coach. Can we expect you to be the play caller this upcoming season?
Yes, I will call the plays. I will call the plays. My first year, I feel like it's a lot of things that, you definitely want to do offensively. But again, we have to do what we can do best. I tell our coaches about this all the time, because I'm a big person in collaborating, Rob. I want to collaborate. We want to come up with new ideas. We want to come up with fresh things. All right, just from everyone's experience around the table. And man, we have created a playbook that's really been beneficial to our players. It's been easy for our players to learn. They're excited about coming in the building every single day. They're excited about training camp to see exactly what new installs that we have, and being able for those guys to not only do it in the spring and have an opportunity to do it in the summer. Now they get a chance to see it for the third time in training camp. So we are collaborating to put a system together. We have a format on how we go about doing it also. I'm
always interested in the men that lead programs and the way that they choose to lead. I asked a question about whether you're going to call the plays or not, because I like to see the structure of how coaches think. Some coaches want to come in and be like a CEO head coach, kind of like hands off, but kind of monitors everything. With you being a play caller, it kind of forces you to be hands on. Is that more or less your personality, or is that something that you just adopted for this particular situation?
That's more my personality. I feel like in HBCU football, man, all hands have to be on deck, and as a head coach, my background is quarterbacking, being able to coach quarterbacks, but being able to develop offenses. And that's one of the reasons I got the job, and that is my forte. So being able to help, being able to collaborate, I'm not a dictator, and like I tell my guys, I just want to make sure that we all collaborate. I want everyone to feel involved, right? But when it's time for us to play the game and definitely, in situations, I want to be the one to call the plays. And those plays are going to be the collaborative effort of what everyone has constructed and put together.
I'm going to bring in my co-host here, Mr. Coach Cole, for this reason. Coach Cole has the same similar idea that you have. Coach Cole, do you like what you're hearing from a former quarterback deciding to call his own plays? Coach Cole thinks that if you're a quarterback and you are who you've always been as a player, you should be the one to call plays, because you shouldn't want to put anybody else under that scrutiny, knowing that you can do the job yourself. Coach Cole, what do you think about what you're hearing?
Well, I mean, Coach been around and he's seen it, because I think what Coach Wilson called the plays too back in the day.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I mean, that's automatic. I mean, why get somebody to do it when and as you say, you will put them under scrutiny. It's just something about a quarterback. He's been very successful as offensive coordinator. Where one day Ted give it up. I don't know. I know I never gave it up. And he said stuff so gracefully about he hired a staff that he could trust. And if he leaves the office, he know in that offensive room, it's if he's in there and he got people that talk and believe in offense, And I told you about the story when I was at Lane College, and I walked in the office in one of the meetings, and they in there watching LSU film, and we ain't got one player 100 miles from the school that could play for LSU, and I'm like, oh no, I got to get rid of these guys. I immediately fired them after the season. But Coach, I mean, he's got the experience and everything about him, man. It's gonna be a success to me, and ain't no question that I think he's going in the right direction. Not because he's on here, because y'all know how I am. He probably know how I am, and he would do the same thing for me if he see it. He would tell it. You know what I mean? That's all a part of being the head coach.
Yeah, absolutely, and again, I trust all of the guys that are on my staff, and we collaborate on everything. So this is not, a one-man thing to say, hey, I throw a playbook on the table and, hey, it has to be my way. No, that's not this deal at all. And, I think it's very important that as any coach, coming in, definitely as a new head coach, because, one thing that I had to adjust to, and that's why it was very important for me to get a guy that, I was familiar with and someone that can command the room. Johnny, these administration meetings and, press conferences and, study hall meetings and all of these things, that you get pulled from the football side. So, you have to have some people that, first and foremost, that speak in your same, terminology and very aligned with the head coach, because as Johnny mentioned, you don't want to leave out the building and, you got a coach saying, hey, well, he want to run this, but hey, this is how I would run it and all of these things. And, that's just called division, on your staff. And if you have division on your staff, that would definitely trickle down to your football team. And you can be the most talented team in the world, but if it's not any continuity and everyone is not sequenced together, that's a recipe for failure.
I don't want to pivot because I know you're ready, but I want to say, Ted, I'm against these NFL non-coaching guys coming in and taking our jobs, these HBCU jobs. and we paying them at the top. The same thing Ted just explained about he going in, man, I got to be at this meeting. I got to go to housing. I got to go to financial aid meeting. He already know that. So he's already established that. And he has coaches that know that. When you ain't never been a head coach, you've never been on HBCU level. Like I said, man, there's the rule. If you jump off a 3-story building, you're going to die. That's
Absolutely.
But there's always one exception. But I guarantee your ass going to be hurting when you get up. So what is that?
But to piggyback off of that, before I even got the head coaching job, and this has been like my 4th time like interviewing for a job, a head coaching job, right? And I have a team of people that really take me through different scenarios to prepare me for this moment. James Shaq Harris being one of them. You know, James Shaq Harris is a staple, not only in Black college football, but just in the NFL as a general manager. So just going through a whole interview process with him and Doug Williams and Jimmy Ray and Jim Cartwell and Steve Wilson, like these scenarios have came up a million times. So, you know, getting the job, you know, once I got the job, it was just pretty much following the format and making sure that I was able to troubleshoot anything. And just so happened, you know, I've been able to get the head coaching job at my alma mater. So being able to know the personnel, know the people, know the decision makers has been really easy for me. And Kerry Davis, I can't say enough about him. He has been spectacular throughout this whole process. And we don't call it working for each other. We call it a partnership. So when you have an AD, that's definitely your partner, and making sure that he supports you in every decision that you make. And if you have a question, that he answers the phone, no matter what time of night it is, you know, it makes the job easy.
Yeah. And people tell me that these HBCU head coaches can't go to a Power 4 or Power 5 and be a great head coach. I don't know what they're talking about. When you got everybody else to do, where you just calling a meeting in your office where you ain't got to go across campus.
You're exactly right.
These gentlemen are very much prepared to go to the next level.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Campbell.
Coach, first of all, hey, appreciate you being on. Super excited. And Coach, I'm going to go one direction, but I got to go another direction. You said something very interesting. This is what I think the power about the Howard brand. You talked about when you came and the alums were excited, but Coach, you said something interesting. You said, hey man, our alums offer our players internships. Coach, is that something that, because it works two ways, you got, I saw a couple of freshmen that you signed, but is that something that when you're going out talking to kids that are, because when you go to Howard, you got to know that you're going to have to focus on your academics. Is that something that you say, hey, those guys down the road might be giving you a couple of thousand NIL, but my Howard alum is going to pay you more than that per month for the summer, and also probably give you a job when you graduate? Is that something that you kind of looked at and talked about?
Absolutely. I wanted to talk about just the life skills. And that was a part of the deal. When I received the job, I wanted to not only develop these guys if they wanted to have an opportunity to go to the National Football League, but being able to develop them in the life skills also. You know, so it was important for me when I first got in to get the job. Before spring football, I brought Jay Walker in. I brought Melinda Spalding in, who was a Howard alum that was on television for a long time, and we gave our guys media training. Right. I brought Edge Sports Counseling in, as well as Miss Dr. Lisa Daniels, and talk to our guys about mental health, because that's a big thing in college football. You know, it was important for me to reach out to the alums and be able to talk to these guys to bring a group of people in and give our guys some life skills on how to create a resume, how to interview for a job. Not only how to interview for a job, but being able to get guys in front of the room and take them through a mock interview. That was important to me. For one of the spring, not the spring game, but one of the scrimmages that we have in training camp. To get in the scrimmage, guys have to bring or donate a suit, because when we travel on the road, you know, we travel in suit and tie. So, you know, for guys who may have, you know, suits that they don't wear no more, or suits that they can't fit, you know, they bring them to our guys, and now we have enough time to be able to get them altered so these guys can have suits on the road. So this is important to me, not only developing these guys, as football players, and they will be developed because, again, we have one of the best staffs in the country. All right. But if they're just so happen we're not able to make it in the NFL, now giving them an opportunity to understand exactly how to interview, understand exactly how to create a resume, because you're going to be a father, a husband, longer than you'll ever be an NFL football player.
Well, Coach, that leads into two things. I got a two-part question. I want to talk about some of your players, but you said something, and I read, which I was really impressed with. Talk to people about, because this kind of piggybacks off that, your core pillars of the Win 360. And what does that mean, and what you told your players? Tell people about the Win 360.
Win 360 is to make sure that everything that I just talked about up until this point, and when we say Win 360, we win on the football field, win in the community, and then obviously win in the game of life. The Howard University, and this is how people feel about any HBCU that they've went to. We're different than anybody, because we feel like our school is the best school, all right, because we had an opportunity to definitely go there. And what Howard University did for me, from a kid that's coming from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I passed over so many schools, the Southern, the Gramblin's, and anyone, all right, to have an opportunity to go to Howard University. Off a recommendation of one of the best quarterbacks that ever come through HBCU, Doug Williams. All right, most people don't even know that, but Doug Williams was the one to recommend me, all right, to go take a visit to Howard University. All right, and when I took a visit to Howard University, it's just immediately changed the trajectory on my thought process, and being able to come from a kid from Louisiana and now be able to go to Washington, D.C. So when we talk about Win 360, we're talking about win every aspect of life.
Well, Coach, all right, now I'm going to say something. Now, was Doug doing that because he's a Grambling man and he didn't want you to go to Southern, so he had to get you as far away? Was that, now, wait a minute. Now, see, we had Doug. Now, we can ask Doug this question. Well, this is a little ulterior motive to get you away from, so you wouldn't go to Southern, so you didn't have to play his alma mater, Grambling?
No, it wasn't that at all. Doug was a friend of the family. Doug went to school with my mom and my dad, so Doug has been knowing me since I've been 5 or 6 years old. And, we've always been close. And whenever I had a decision to make, I would reach out to Doug Williams and Steve Wilson for some advice. And they would give me their honest opinion on what they would do in the situation. And that was one of the situations that, I reached out to Doug Williams, and just so happened the offensive line coach at Howard University, Fred Dean, who played with the Washington Redskins with Doug Williams, was here as the offensive line coach. And it just so happened to work out like that, so he didn't push me to Howard University or anything like that. I'm pretty sure if he would have knew that things would have worked out the way that it was, as far as me breaking the records and doing everything that I did at Howard, he probably would have told me to go to Grambling.
Go to Grambling, been a G-man. Well, we're not gonna ruin a good story with facts, Coach. I'm gonna let you tell that, but I know what it is. Well, no, joking. But Coach, let's talk about the things about your players and what you came in, because like you said, you came in late. Again, came in January. But Coach, there's a couple of names I want to talk about that I think you've gotten to know. So what was interesting to me, you got Eden James, first team All MEAC, but then Coach, your quarterback, Ja'Shawn Scruggins, second team All MEAC. So they've seen some things from this kid. So let's talk about this. You being a quarterback, and you already got a guy that people are saying, hey, this got to be the second best quarterback in the MEAC already. Let's talk about that.
Man, Ja'Shawn Scruggins is everything that you would want in a quarterback. He's smart. He's a gym rat. He's a great processor. He's a playmaker, but he's a leader. And when you talk about the quarterback position, you want someone to lead from the front. And he's one of those guys that do that. Some things that happened in the past, I think he got injured last year that really caused him not to play the time that he was supposed to play. But Ja'Shawn Scruggins, will win some football games for you. We got another guy, Isaiah Freeman. Isaiah Freeman transferred from Hampton last year. Him and Ja'Shawn Scruggins, as well as TJ Russell, those guys are really going at it for the quarterback position, and By and JC know this more than anything, by you being a former quarterback as a head coach, your hands are on that quarterback room, and these guys, they're showing up early. If they're meeting at 7:30, they want to be in that 7:15, and it's friendly competing every single day. And you have to love that for your football team, because you have everybody else around that's looking at that quarterback room. And if you have a great quarterback in HBCU and definitely a guy who can take care of the football and lead the right way and be able to put points on the board, man, you got a chance to really being successful. Eaton James, you talk about the pedigree of Eaton James, someone who understands the game of football. Not only he's a running back, he understands protections. He takes care of the football. He is a quarterback in the backfield, and that's what you want at the running back position. Obviously, his dad was a great football player, and the thing about Eaton, he doesn't really, talk too much. I think I talk more about his dad than he does, and
Right.
he's a great addition to the football team. He's a legacy kid that's been there as a freshman, and he really wants to be great. He wants to be great. He wants to be a leader. He leads from the front also. And when you have a team that's equipped with some great leaders, you got a chance to really being successful on Saturdays.
Now, Coach, I saw something that was very interesting. I think you might be one of the only teams ever. You've got the first team punter and the first team kicker. Leon Allen, your punter, and Matt Concord, the first team kicker in the MEAC. Now, does that make you feel good already looking like your special teams? Because as we know, games are won and lost by field position and making field goals. Trust me, FAMU knows about that. So when you saw those guys that were there, how good you feel about the special teams and you special team coach that you talked about that you hired?
Man, they work their butt off. They work their butt off, man, and they do a great job of just paying attention to details. Our special teams coordinator, Keith Burns, as well as our kicking coach, Mike Andrews, they do a great job with those guys. And I understand just the importance of a special teams unit in HBCU football. Sometimes we lack, on that side of sort of special teams. So with us, we just got to make sure we're details. And obviously, when we get down there, we get an opportunity to put not only 7 on the board, but if we just so happen to kick 3, we got an opportunity to do that.
All right, Coach, last thing on the players. You got in late. Were there anybody, because I saw you had a couple of freshmen, but for you, I'm pretty sure the portal was big. Were there any guys in the portal that you're excited about, went through spring ball, so you know what, these guys are really going to produce for Howard? That you can talk about.
All of the guys that we have, it was important for me, and I just don't want to single out one person, but it was important for me to get guys that were great fits, because you can get a great player, and if he's not a great fit for your team, or he's going to cause a disruption in your locker room, or he's not going to do the things that, your culture intends for him to do, like it'll be an issue, So it was important for us to make sure that everyone that we got out of the portal, and Howard is not a school that we're going to go get 30 or 40 guys out of the portal. We truly believe in developing high school guys, as well as guys that we do get out of the portal. And we get an opportunity to really compete, with those guys in the fall. So I'm excited about all of the guys that we have, and I know that we would definitely have an opportunity to win some football games this year.
Coach, let me step in here.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to ask him about his roster. I know I wanted to see if Cam was going to bring it up, but it seems to me, because I don't know what the average number of graduate students are on a roster, but it seems to me that you guys, just surveying your roster, that you guys have quite a few. Was that intentional, or was that just, how the cookie crumbled, being that, you came in late?
What is it? Quite a few what? What do you mean?
Graduate students.
Well, see, Howard is a school to where we can't recruit just a whole bunch of, guys who are sophomores and juniors, If we want to get some guys out of the portal, it have to be grad transfers, or they have to be guys who are leaving from their freshman year to come as your sophomore year to Howard University. All right, so we were able to seek some guys who we thought that were game changers that can help our program, that can add to some things that we did well last year. Obviously our record was 4-8, so, after looking at the defense and looking at the offense, we had to make sure, first and foremost, that guys fit exactly what we do. They were injury free and came in with a great attitude. So as we evaluated these guys, and we have a great recruiting team, Janice Panajon, who handles, our recruiting, she does a great job of just vetting guys and make sure when they get to me that, it's about ball. It's about ball in school. making sure that, because grad transfers, sometimes they go and they just want to play ball and just forget about the aspect of school. But we are at Howard, we make sure that our guys, not only get an undergrad degree, but if they're in grad school, we give them an opportunity to get a graduate degree also.
Now, Coach, this last.
Go ahead, Rocky. No, go ahead.
No, I just want to say the last question was, there's been some recent changes to the eligibility of students that came out in 2022. We hadn't talked to many coaches since this change happened, but I wanted to start asking coaches is what will be your approach to try to identify these kids that assume they weren't eligible 2 weeks ago, and then now it looks like they may have an opportunity to play college football one more year. Have you been looking at identifying some of those kids, and would you bring some of those kids into your program?
That has came up in conversation. You just got to be careful. You just got to be careful of bringing a guy in this late, because, you're about to have a game in 3 weeks. So you're talking about just from the conditioning standpoint. You're talking about from the locker room standpoint, bringing a guy in to compete for a job. And again, it just has to be a great fit. It has to be a good fit. I think it's a good rule. I think it's a good rule because we have, identified some guys that we feel like that can help our football club. And just stay tuned. Just stay tuned.
Coach, was you able to get any players from Maryland? Did Coach Loxley gave you opportunity to coach there? Was any of the players there that you considered or they considered, well, maybe it looks like things ain't going well here at Maryland, Coach? How would you like me to come over to Howard?
Yeah, Nigel Cross. Nick Cross. Nick Cross is a safety that went to Maryland. He signed a big contract with the Washington Commanders this year. He had a younger brother, Nigel Cross, right? That was at Maryland last year that transferred to us. He's a safety / nickel, a guy who's a great leader, a guy who has brought just a leadership skill and just some depth to what we're trying to do on the defensive side. He's a great teammate. He's a hard worker. He has a great work ethic, and we feel like that he'll definitely be an intricate part in what we're trying to do defensively.
Yeah, Coach, I was just sitting here thinking, this is a blessing. You still sleeping in your own bed at night, right?
I'm sleeping in my own bed, yeah.
Mom ain't had to move. If you had any kids in school, all you doing is it driving a little farther from Maryland or?
I'm just driving a little closer. So people who hadn't been to DC, they don't know just the proximity from Maryland to Howard. It's only around 15 minutes. And that's why Washington, DC is, one of the beautiful cities in the country. You got, University of Maryland, you got Howard University, you got American University, you got Georgetown, you got George Washington. You got about 6 or 7 schools right here in close proximity to the Washington, D.C. area to where kids can get an opportunity if they wanted to go off the campus to mingle with, other students on other campuses. They have an opportunity to do that. And I've been blessed because I had an opportunity, as I mentioned earlier, to work at the University of Maryland, which is about 15 minutes from here. And when I received the job now, where I stay, I can just drive 5 minutes to the school and I'm in my office.
Wow.
I followed your career, and of course, I'm a black college guy. You had tried for a whole bunch of head jobs, and you were a perfect fit for some of them, but they just didn't call your name, man. And then boom, not only did you get the head job, you get the head job at your alma mater. That's got to be a sweet, sweet feeling. And do those jobs that didn't give you are you going to put them on your roster down the way? And how much on your schedule, and how much do you have to do with making your schedule out?
It's God's timing, Johnny. I'm a true believer of that. It is God's timing. And, I hadn't received, this is my first head coaching job. The jobs that I didn't receive, the head coaches that I had an opportunity to interview for, I'm still in communication with some of the ADs because they want to schedule games. So it's been great. I'm not a guy that hold a whole bunch of grudges. And I'm always where my feet are. I'm always where my feet are. And this is an opportunity that I'm going to definitely take advantage of. And I'm going to treat these kids just as my coach, Steve Wilson, taught me. He treated me. He gave me an opportunity to be the best player that I can be at Howard. And he also gave me an opportunity to graduate. And I'm going to do the same thing that he did for me for these kids here. As far as my schedule, a couple games were already scheduled when I was here. But obviously, I talked to Kerry Davis daily about just future games that we have that we hadn't signed yet. And, I'm an HBCU fan. I feel like, MEAC schools should always play SWAC schools. I thought, with the FAMU and Howard rivalry, that was always good. The last time I played Southern University in 1996, I think, that game should be renewed, to get an opportunity to play some of the SWAC schools, even Grambling, so those rivalries are needed in HBCU football because, you have different regions that you get an opportunity to really go to. And it's from a recruiting standpoint, you get a chance to, see guys and guys get an opportunity to see you that may not have an opportunity to see you because you don't come to that region or that state quite often.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach,
Go ahead, Coach.
No, I was just going to ask him, considering, you were a championship coach,
Mm-hmm.
And then about 2 years ago, Coach Scott won a championship as well. In between those times, Coach, there's been some really lean years at Howard. What have you, walking in the building as the head coach, have you identified some of those things that have kind of attributed to those situations, or do those circumstances lie solely at the foot of the coach? You know what I mean? I know the coach takes the blame, but it seems like with that long of a period of having lean years, that has to be something symptomatic of what goes on at the institution that kind of, prevents the school from sustaining a winning culture year in and year out.
Yeah, a lot goes into winning. Obviously alignment, injuries, players, recruiting. A lot goes into winning consecutively every year. This year alone, Howard University has won 10 championships. Women's and men's basketball have won. Swimming has won. David Oliver with the track program has won. Coach Sam with the golf program has won. And I truly believe with the AD that we have, Kerry Davis, he is committed to winning. All right, with the interim president that we have, Rain Frederick, he is committed to winning, not only off the field, but on the field. We committed, so much money to NIL to be able to go get the top players. I've created a collective, the 1867 Flight Club Collective, to be able to raise money and not have any red tape, to be able to recruit, retain, and being able to support our players that we have at Howard University. That's one thing that's not talked about enough, just with the NIL space. Howard University, I feel, is one of the top NIL schools in HBCU, and we have an opportunity to be able to go get those top players that may leave these P4 schools that's looking for a home, and that's been really a blessing in itself because Mr. Kerry Davis has been committed to that. And I feel good about just the players that we have and the players that we've been able to go out and get to add to our football team.
Are these NILs? No, I was just going to ask you.
Follow up.
No, I just wanted to follow up. Are these true NIL opportunities, or is this more of a rev share model when you're talking about the collective?
This is rev share. All right. This is NIL opportunities that we've been able to go get for our players with alums. All right. And also just from a collective standpoint, being able to raise money to support our players and make sure just from a nutrition standpoint, just from an equipment standpoint, being able to purchase that through our collective and making sure that we've been able to support our players to give them the same opportunity that these P4 players have.
Coach, I'm gonna listen before we let you go, and we're talking about your coach. But listen, I'm a little bit older than you, but I do remember when you came through and you and Jay Walker, you are a legendary player. You're a legendary HBCU football player. You're a legendary college player. What were some of the games that when you were in the MEAC that you saw on the schedule, or some of those games that you said, man, let me tell you something. This is a game I want to tell people about how I played and who I played against. What were some of those games? Because you kind of talked about this off air about when you played FAMU, but what were some of those games? Because I think people don't understand. You are a record-setting quarterback. You were not just a guy that was, as they say, a people manager, a game manager. So let's talk about you being the player, Ted White, and this is really what got you to be the coach, Ted White.
So a couple games that I looked at that was really fun in the MEAC, Hampton, you know, when they were in the MEAC, we knew that was going to be a tough game. Florida A&M, and I know you want me to say that, Kim, so that's why, you know, I had to say, you know, Florida A&M, you know, and Jay Walker holds this over my head every time that I talk to him. So with Jay Walker, you know, Jay Walker, first game, he played against Morehouse, and he lost to Morehouse. So I hold that over his head. But
really?
He holds he holds the FAMU. Man, you never beat FAMU, and he's right. FAMU was one of the schools that was just a thorn in my side, but I would love to be able to renew that rivalry.
They did last year, Coach. Ask him how it went.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, listen, let me tell you something. We want to thank Howard for that loss, because guess what? We got somebody just like you that's not coach. So it all works out sometimes. So we're not even mad at it now. That's your twin.
We talk good about people.
Yeah. So look, but Bethune-Cookman.
Listen, I'm talking good about Howard.
So Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman was one of the games that were fun also. You know, with Alvin Wyatt, he had a great football team. South Carolina State with Willis Jeffries was there. All right, North Carolina A&T. All of those, the MEAC was stacked with teams that you really couldn't take one weekend off, you know, and it's like that now. You know, obviously with South Carolina State and North Carolina Central, and obviously Morgan State and you know, what Deshaun Jackson did last year at Delaware State, it's a competitive conference. So I'm really looking forward to getting back and just making MEAC football what it needs to be.
Coach, I got one thing, because I know you're a competitor. And I know this does not mean anything to you, because like kind of what Coach Grady, you weren't there. But when I saw that voting by the conference, they had Howard pick last. Mm-hmm. Now, Coach, people that know you know that you want to win and everything. What kind of motivation when you went to that press conference and you saw, mind you guys were only 4-8, y'all were 4-8 last year, and only 2 years ago had been in Celebration Bowl. Is that something that you like those doors to your guys say, Ted White is here, they don't know what they got, what's going to happen at Howard?
Well, we expected that. You know, I'm a new coach. We have a bunch of new players, and you know, and I tell our players, you know, either prove them right or prove them wrong. And every day that we practice, you know, obviously we want to get better as an individual first, and you know, it's up to us to make sure that the people who are saying that we're last in the conference to prove them wrong. So every day that we go to practice, you know, it's not about, you know, proving to anybody outside of the building what we can do. We have to prove it to ourselves to make sure that we are who we say we are.
Yeah. Man, Coach, it's been always a pleasure. I knew this would be a great show, man. I'm glad I got a chance to get you one-on-one, man. Look, I told him when he called me because he left it now. I said, man, I just got off the phone with Obama, and I said, damn, I got in touch with Obama for it. I can get in touch with Coach White. I've been chasing you for a month, man.
Hey, man, and you know, I appreciate you guys and how you guys really spotlight HBCU coaches and how you spotlight HBCU football. Man, you guys are needed. And anytime that you want me to come on here, I'm more than welcome to come on here. And I appreciate you guys just for what you do, and I appreciate y'all time. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, Coach, man. You first class, just like I was telling my guys. And hey, I know you ain't gonna come in the last. You know, I'm gonna get my prediction, but I'm gonna let you do some more work first.
But Coach, I didn't get a chance to ask you, but you playing the defending national champs last year. I know when they made this schedule, I didn't think y'all when they made this schedule, they probably wasn't thinking that Indiana was going to be the defending national champions.
Well, Mr. Davis, we talked and we laughed about this because he was like, okay, Ted, we play in Indiana, but we scheduled them, you know, because Howard played Northwestern a couple years ago, and they played Northwestern well. So Indiana scheduled a game with Howard, you know, because they were in the Big Ten also, but never, ever we thought that we were going to be playing Indiana right now, you know. But the guys are excited. The guys are excited just about the schedule in general. You know, we're excited about the schedule in general. And we understand that it's just challenging, but you know, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it work.
Yeah, I hope you guys got paid healthy, Coach.
We did.
They got law school coach. They ain't got to worry about that. They got lawyers all up and down that university. They gonna get
that. Tennessee State is playing Georgia for $600,000. Hell, Coach, I got $400 from Rutgers in 2010. They ain't even a blueberry program. So damn, like my man Billy Joe say, man, we can't be prostituting the kids. If we're gonna get paid, we gotta get paid healthier.
hey, you can tell that smile on Coach White's face. The money's right.
Yeah.
Coach said they gonna have some more Jordans with that, no doubt about it.
Well, Coach, thank you, man. And I guess we can let you lead by why should I come to Howard University?
Well, you should come to Howard University because, as I mentioned, we're one of the most prestigious colleges in the country. We're probably one of one that's sponsored by, you know, Jordan Brand, as you mentioned, Campbell. You know, we've got 10 championships this year. You had an opportunity to come on campus with some of the most brilliant students around the country. Our celebrity list of people who have went to Howard University is so many that you can't name. Our homecoming is unbelievable. Right? Anybody that you talk to, right, about Howard University, they're going to talk about Howard University homecoming. And not only that, we're winners on the field, man. Rock and Campbell and John, we went off the field. You know, and Howard University, we speak volumes around the world, and that's why you should come to Howard University.
Hey, Coach, about that homecoming, do they serve caviar and pate at the homecoming at Howard?
No, it's catfish, man. And by me being from Louisiana, I'm finna bring the crawfish up here this year.
Watch out, Coach.
They set the whole city down. Yeah. All the cops are on like, hey, just gather them home. Nobody. You have to be an idiot, man, to get in trouble on that night.
Johnny, we got to get you guys.
The whole city is Howard homecoming. Man, the whole city.
That has to be a deal. We got to get you guys up here for Howard University homecoming, and you guys can broadcast from Howard University homecoming on the yard.
Oh man, hey,
Coach, I've been to Howard homecoming. I was there with Biggie that was on that yard. Come on, man, you ain't said nothing to me.
We can hire him and Jay, man. We have him and Jay, man. Let them go at it on the show. You know, we had Jay on the show too. You know?
That's good.
Yeah, when he got in the Hall of Fame, we brought him on the show and brought some folks with him, man, and it was a great show.
Yeah. If you listen to Jay don't think anybody else has played quarterback at Howard since he left.
No, Jay, man, he the only one that played quarterback at Howard University. You know? Nobody else played, but that's my brother. And I tell him all the time, you know, when we get into this debate and we talk about who the best quarterback, man, I give it to him, you know. But I tell him the records that's on the MEAC records, all-time records, they say different. But I just tell him, you know, just for a debate aspect, man, you got it, you won it, you know, you're the best quarterback.
Thank you, Coach, man. Thank you,
Thank you,
so
Coach.
much, man.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Man, that was another great interview, guys, man. That was Coach Ted White of Howard University, man. That was a tremendous interview, Coach. Does he get your stamp of approval as a winner, Coach?
Hey, Coach, man, these young cats, man, you know, that guy there, man, he been through it, Coach. He don't had the ups and downs. You know, he should have had a head coaching job in a conference. You know what I mean? I mean, what we seeing? You know what I mean? We got 5 or 6 guys been in here a long time and ain't won nothing. But you know, some schools missed out on a great coach. He's going to do well at Howard.
Coach, you think he should have got his shot before Mike Vick got his shot?
Oh, come on, Coach. Come on, man. You know it. Hey, and the boy at Delaware State too. I'm just gonna call it. Even though he had a great year, I mean, Ted White should have been way up there, man. He should have been one of the guys should have been crawling at, man. Because he's been to some good schools coaching as well, coaching quarterback.
Hey, Cameron, let me ask you this question. Do you see Ted White showing up? I know they didn't have the same circumstances that you had, right? But I've admired FAMU this particular leading up to this season, because it seems like all the FAMUans, no matter what show you watch, no matter how you look, they all pulling in one direction. You understand? Do you think that's a benefit of hiring an esteemed alumni as head coach, is that it tends to have the alumni all pulling in one direction for a time anyway?
It's funny. I was just down in Tallahassee on some business, and this was a conversation about risk versus reward, right? So you could go out, FAMU, there were people that wanted a celebrity hire, right? And it could have been a big name, a really big name. But when you sit back and you look at it, the risk was too great compared to the reward. Where you got a guy like Ted White and Coach Gray, where their pedigree, they've done it. And I'm gonna tell you this, and this is what I do know, because I've talked to a lot of Howard folks. See, he ain't telling the whole story. When I said that money was rolling in, that money was rolling in. Because like he said, women's basketball won a championship, men's basketball won a championship. The only thing they looking at is, man, let's get this football back rolling. And now all of a sudden we got all the sports, all the major sports, because they don't play baseball. So that's the thing about it. So they were like, man, we can get money. And then when you're talking about somebody who literally represents everything that's great about Howard as your coach, just like Coach Gray for FAMU, man, listen, that's like Coach said, that's an easy hire. That's an easy hire. And when like he say, knowing where the bathroom, guess where he know where the bank is at, because he know who to call that got that money. That's right. See, that's the thing. Did you hear the names he was rattling off? I had Dr. This and such that to go talk to such. Bro, that's just people he knows. Okay, that's what Howard has. It's the same thing with FAMU. When you can sit back, let me call Will Packer, and let me call Pam Oliver, and let me call these people.
Girl, what's the actor, the pretty girl?
Taraji Henson.
Taraji Henson.
Regina Hall went to Howard. Anthony Anderson went to Howard. You could just go on and on and on. Of people that he's talking about. That all these people, like I said, we can go to the Allen system. Debbie Allen, Felicia Rashad Allen. You know what I mean? We could just go back. And God rest his soul, Chadwick Boseman. You know what I mean? So the level of people.
They grew up in Houston, across the street from Texas Southern.
I know they did.
Yeah, them girls, yeah. But Texas Southern is looking for an athletic director, and
I thought they already got one, Coach.
Well, we had one, but we're looking for one now. And one of the candidates is a guy named Tony Wiley. Tony Wiley actually went to Texas Southern University. He was the third man in control at the Houston Oilers. And then when they went to Nashville, then he also went to the Washington Redskins as he was the SID, a Sports Information Director. Now he's the president of the Special Olympics. And, he's not asking, but he's applying to come back to Texas Southern University to be our athletic director. And here's another chance and opportunity again to hire one of your own. And the guy, you can't go no more hard in the NFL, can you? And you don't think he has those contacts and those people who know people, because he was there with the Texans for a while. And, of course, he jumped around, that they got this opportunity to hire him. Are we going to screw it up, Coach? Or are we going to go back outside again? I don't know.
Well, I want to address this. This tickles me right here. Hiring alums is easy, but the school have taken the biggest risk of easily generated the greatest result. Coach, I'm going to ask you, and Rock, I'm going to ask you, in the Celebration Bowl era, has a celebrity coach won the Celebration Bowl yet?
No, sir. No,
has an alum from a school won a Celebration Bowl?
Several.
Yes. Two off the top of my head.
Thank you. This right here has no validity at all. Zero. Zero.
Well, I
So
mean, the
when
two
you
that come
say-
off the top of my head is
So when you're saying
Hey,
that,
Oliver.
so
And
you said
TC.
Delaware State. Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna say this again. Did they win a championship?
Yes, sir.
No, they have not.
What you mean?
no Delaware State. Delaware State has not won a championship.
No, they have not. Dion did not win a championship. TC
No.
Taylor went to Jackson State. He won a championship. I know that for a fact.
And let's be honest. Every school isn't in the same situation. And I look at this, and again, I've talked to Campbell about, and I am a celebrity coach guy, and my guy, Coach Cole, is not a celebrity coach guy. I like celebrity coaching,
Right.
but at the end of the day, not every program needs a celebrity coach. Some programs just need stability and direction. You know what I mean? And that's all. Other programs do need a shot in the arm and need some invigoration. But I'll say this, a program like FAMU, they don't need a shot in the arm. They don't need invigoration. They need the direction, and they need stability. That's all they need, because all the other intangibles are there.
Hush, this is wait. Hold on, Coach. Let me answer this. See, first of all, Hush, listen, because you know what? Shout out to Hush, because he's always here. I always like people that at least are here. So I appreciate you. But Hush, there is a direct financial benefit when you win the Celebration Bowl. That is a revenue increase. Because let me tell you two things.
That's a meal dog.
Especially in the MEAC, the SWAC, you probably got Jackson State that lost. You got that home SWAC game that you get money for. Then if you win the Celebration Bowl, you get money. So that is a direct result. I'll tell you another secret. When you win, more likely than not, the next year, you got more people buying season tickets. So that's not true. So come on, man. You guys know better than that. Y'all know not to put that stuff on the screen. I'm not going to deal with it. Come on. Stop it.
That's man. Well, let me tell him too, it's from a coaching standpoint. We went from having people come to the game to when we got the winning and the winning streak got up, we would come to the games then and the line be wrapped around the stadium to get in early. just to get good seats for the games.
Let me ask you this, and both of y'all can answer this question because I'm somebody from the outside. And I think this is how people look, Mr. Campbell. People look, if you hire, let's say for just using the names, Ed Reed. If you get a Hall of Fame level, just say a Marshall Faulk, the national notoriety and the interest in the program from the outside becomes greater. But in my opinion, does the school have the infrastructure to turn that into revenue and donations? See, if you don't have the infrastructure to turn that big name into revenue, donations, then you just got a celebrity coach that's made your program more relevant and more notable. But how does the school benefit from that if they don't have the apparatus to create the income that goes along with it? What do you guys say about it? Like, what do you guys think about this? Because I do think celebrity coaches give you put more eyes on your program, but I don't know that all schools can convert that into revenue.
Well, here's where you lose me at, is when they don't have no coaching experience. That's where you lose me at. And we all talked, and I think we all agree. I think you're right, half right. There is some programs like a Pine Bluff, a Bethune-Cookman way down in the woods, that getting a celebrity coach might help and bring some attention. But when you're talking about Florida A&M don't need no celebrity coach. Shit, that's football country. Jackson State don't need, Southern University don't need one either. You know what I mean? Texas Southern, maybe, but if we get a guy in there with head coach experience, they could, because of where it sits at, they could get in there and turn the program around. But
what I mean is fan base, facilities, and support. This is what I'm talking when I say infrastructure. I mean fan base, facilities, and support.
Right.
Like, and if you got two of those in the HBCU football, you're doing better than most.
Alabama State don't need no guy learning on the job. Grambling don't need no guy learning on the job. These are programs that draws anyway. You know what I'm saying? And see, that's kind of the way I feel about it.
I'm gonna put this up. I'll tell you this. And if those people at A&T want to lie, the direct benefit for A&T going that Celebration Bowl every year was student enrollment. It exploded during that time. So you're not gonna tell me that, bro. Listen, bro. I talk to the ADs. I just have meetings with these folks. So I know exactly what the money looks like. So if you don't think there's a direct correlation of winning and going that Celebration Bowl where people boosters increase, I know it did with FAMU. I tell you this with FAMU, we dropped the ball because of our AD. Because literally everybody said, and Rocky, I think this is when you guys first started this show, when the whole thing with Willie. We literally were going to give Willie $500,000 to coach an HBCU. Is that not an increase? Is that not excitement?
Yeah.
Come on, what are we talking about?
The other side of it is like Coach mentioned Bethune-Cookman and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Those schools could really benefit from having a celebrity coach of someone of great notoriety. The downside is they don't have what Jackson State had, which is a rabid fan base and a history of being winning and support. So I don't even know that it would be a benefit to them the way it would be for a school like Jackson State. Or now, I do agree with this. Southern didn't need a celebrity coach. They got one, and I hope he does well, but they didn't need no celebrity coach. They could have got away with just hiring somebody like Ted White, in my opinion, and they would have been, they could have changed the fortune of their program without the celebrity hire. What do you think, Coach?
It makes sure this is nothing against Marshall Faulk. This is nothing against his ability. This is nothing. It's just facts to me, because I've been in those situations, and I would love to get him on and see where he's at as far as getting the program going in the right direction. But Southern University, I've been there the year they won a championship, national championship in '93. We won a championship as well. We were the Black College National Championships, and that's where different media platforms held it. So we were national champions. They were national champions. But Southern University, they have the stadium. They the second show in town besides LSU. Fan base is great. They play in the biggest game, the Bayou Classic, at the end of the year. 60 to 70,000 fans are up in the dome. They need to always kind of stay here. They don't need to drop. And when they drop, it definitely hurts them a lot. So
this is, to me, this here is blatantly, I don't know what this. Again, I only been following the SWAC the last 5 years, but a celebrity coach would attract alums. You say UAPB don't have. They are a number of wealthy alums. My point is there's diminishing returns on that if the guy can't coach. If the guy can coach football, it doesn't matter where he goes, right? But if you take just the celebrity itself, I think that has diminishing returns for any program if he can't coach. But I think a place like Arkansas Pine Bluff, you can get the notoriety of having a celebrity coach, right? But he has to be able to coach, or you continue to be a laughingstock.
It's just like having new shoes. You when you get them new shoes, man, you take them off. You like the little kids, that I teach middle school. They be walking around. I say, man, what's wrong with Coach? I don't want to put no crease in my shoes. But about 2 weeks go by. They turn into the same old shoes, man, and they stop taking care of them.
I'm gonna say something that I was gonna do a show on this on the Rocky Miller Show, so I may still do it, but I'm gonna mention it now just because I have it. We do have a celebrity coach in the SWAC, but it ain't who you think it is. There is a celebrity coach, a big-time celebrity coach in the SWAC, but it ain't who you think it is. And the way he became a celebrity is he's won his way to celebrity. He didn't talk his way to celebrity. It wasn't because of some NFL pedigree that he had. He's Tremaine Jackson is everything that a celebrity coach is, and probably more. He is the celebrity coach. You can't think about the SWAC right now without thinking about Tremaine Jackson. Am I lying, Coach?
They had 879 kids attend his football camp. His football camp. His name, his football camp. Money goes to him. And in whatever way he want to distribute. And I ain't trying to get in his purse, but you talking about HBCU College had 879 kids come to the football camp. He had over 15 Division 1A schools there working the camp. They working at the HBCU camp. So if you can get it done and you win, do y'all think if he would have came last in the SWAC, he'd have had 879 kids for the football camp? No, sir. No, it wasn't gonna happen. You know, he's getting it done, man. And winning is one of the reasons. And his athletic director, we can't say enough about him now. You know what I mean? And the things that he do and the way they work together, they make a great team.
Again, we have some guys pushing back on whether he's a celebrity coach. I don't know what I mean. What I mean by that is he's more recognizable for coaching Prairie View A&M than Marshall Faulk is for coaching Southern.
And I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you how I know he's a celebrity, because everybody in these Joker podcasts has had him on the show every 5 seconds. Now, how about that? Because he moves the needle. So, like I say, man, listen, as back in Jack say, man, it's nothing wrong with being hood famous. I know a lot of hood famous folk done lived a good life. So you can take a Marshall Faulk life, or you can take a T-Jack life. But I tell you what, both of them successful depending on what side of the street you on.
But what I'm saying is, what I'm simply saying is, coach, is that Marshall Faulk is not moving like a celebrity coach. He's more moving like a traditional coach. He's keeping things tight to the vest. He's not doing very many interviews. He's not saying very much, but he's not really promoting his program the way I thought he would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't. Again, we hope we get Marshall Faulk on this show. But at the end of the day, there's only one real celebrity coach in here. Marshall Faulk is a football coach. He is the head coach of Southern. But when you talk about celebrity coach, notoriety, talk that talk, walk that walk, it's only one coach. It's only one. It's only one in the SWAC.
That's right.
And you can argue with me all you want to. You can say what you want to. Just put up a post with T-Jack on it and see what happens. See how many likes, comments, and subscriptions you get. I'm telling you, man.
You got folks from other schools doing shows about T-Jack.
Yeah.
Doing whole shows about it.
Yeah. Yeah, ain't no question. He getting it done.
And coach, it's because he's what?
Winning. Winning. You know what I mean? Winning. Let's get that straight, man.
That's the best perfume. That's the best deodorant. That's the best cologne you can have in this business.
Yeah. Hey.
Well, let me ask Hutch a question. He said he's not a celebrity, but is he not a celebrity for the right people? He needs to be a celebrity too. Like Coach said, 819 kids that potentially could be recruits. Is he not a celebrity for fundraising? Is he not a celebrity to put PV that? And trust me, I have not said Prairie View. I am fit coach. Now between me and you, Coach, we got what 100 years of swag hours.
Yeah.
Have you said this much about Prairie View in the last? How old are you, Coach? I mean, you in your 60s, because I'm 56. So you in your
63 on Tuesday.
Okay, 60, and a great look at 63. We both look good for 8. Coach, that is 119 years of living.
Yeah.
And at least 100 years of being around the SWAC. Can you tell me in our 100 years of being around the SWAC together that we talked about Prairie View this much?
They stopped talking about Prairie View in the 60s.
Hey, Coach,
under Coach Henry Nix. They stopped talking about Prairie View in the 60s.
Coach, there's people that when they was playing in the Trout Celebration Bowl ask me what conference was Prairie View in. That's from Texas, born, raised here. Again, I'm just telling you. I'm telling what Prairie View is. I'm gonna put it like this. I know I'm probably exaggerating when I say this, but I don't think Prairie View could be more famous in this moment unless they hired Dion.
All right, I'm going to shut the door, Cole. I'm going to shut the door. Who asked T-Jack to come visit their school?
Dion
Sanders. How much more of a celebrity did you could be in football? Dion called Tremaine Jackson. Tremaine Jackson didn't call Dion. Dion called Tremaine because he was a winner. He wanted to know what he was doing up there, and he could share his ideas with Tremaine. And when it was all over, they both called each other saying, "What did you see about the program?" Now, I'm not going to be privileged to say what they talked about because that's business that I don't talk. But definitely, Tremaine could have helped Colorado as well as Dion helped Tremaine. He ain't no other coach.
Again, then when you this is just people just don't realize. I know this is the SWAC, and y'all often exaggerate outcomes. You realize Prairie View lost the game on a 2-point conversion that many people say wasn't a touchdown. They were up 21 points. South Carolina came back to take the lead, and then Prairie View came back to tie the game and send it to overtime. I don't think you could call that a collapse, guys. I want you to be honest. That was one hell of a football game is what it was, and Coach Jackson happened to lose the game, but it was one hell of a football game. You call it a collapse if you want to. You can.
Well, let's pivot for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Robinson has done a great job down at Alabama State. He took them, and now he got one of the number one quarterbacks in the country on every level. You know what I'm saying? He finished 10-2 last year. You know what I mean? Great. T.C. Taylor takes over from Dion and went straight and won it. Man, we got some greatness. You know, and that's why I say you ain't got to be a celebrity to come in and coach. You know, you ain't got to. Alabama State don't need for nothing. They got recruiting money. They got one of the best stadiums in football. You know what I mean? They got a great fan base. You know, of course, enough is about JSU. We know JSU, man. I mean, they've been leading in attendance for years, so it don't matter who comes in there. You know what I mean? All Dion did was take it to a national stage as far as not necessarily the football part, but the dance and prance and all that around football is what Dion brought to Jackson State.
He just shared Jackson State with the world. That's all he did.
Yeah, the great.
You know what I mean? Jackson State was already a preeminent powerhouse in HBCU college football.
Yes.
He just shared that with the world. And so shout out to Dion for doing that. Shout out to, I'll always say, Ashley Robinson took one of the biggest swings in sports. And he hit a home run with it. And for that, we all should be indebted to Ashley Robinson because he brought something to the HBCU space that I don't think can and will be ever replicated, in my opinion.
And our conference is getting bigger and better, you know, because we're hiring great coaches to bring the level of competition up instead of one group is harder than the other. With the hiring of Tremaine, that brought another team up in there. You know what I mean? You always were seeing Florida A&M, Jackson State, Alabama State, and then now Prairie View. You know, so we need Southern to be good. You know what I'm saying? We need Texas Southern to start pumping up in there to be good. You know what I mean? To make our conference even stronger as leaders, got good leadership. You know, and that's what we need to move those conference.
Coach, we're seeing these D2 coaches being moved up in the SIAC to the SWAC. I don't know if this is a unique era that we're having, but do you at some point see the MEAC using the CIAA as a farm team for coaches that they'll elevate and move up into their conference?
Yeah, I always get in trouble, which I really don't care now. I mean, it's a shame that some of these guys. I mean, we knew Quinn Gray was a great coach, but he we have to go. He had to go through Division II. You know what I mean? We got Coach Frazier up there, the Virginia Union. Virginia State. We already know he's a great coach. You know what I mean? We got Ted White. Had to go through all these things. He's been good 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? He's been a good coach 5 years ago. So we still got some good coaches out there. They just got to go a different route because I know I was tickling with us last week. I said, man, we need to get together and start promoting how we can go find the best coaches for these HBCU schools. And they ain't got to go get these law firms and pay them $30,000 and $40,000 to get terrible coaches. We could do that right here on the show. You know what I mean? Because we have the information and of course we know what it takes. When Bishop said between me and him, hell, we damn near got 100 years of black college football, and we've seen some greatness, and we know what it looks like. We know what championship. I know the inside what a championship. Bishop know what it takes, and like Coach Jackson said just last week, we need to stop wanting to win championship on pennies. We need to win championships on dollars. You know what I'm saying? So, and we know that we know that the money has been stingy at black colleges, but now we understand, and T-Jack is definitely making it clear. You want a championship, go get you the best coach you can find and put the money behind him. You're gonna have a championship. You're gonna have a good football program.
Coach.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you a question. I want to shift gears. Hold on, Rocky. I want to shift gears on something real quick. Unless you wanted one last thing on this.
No. I was just gonna ask you a simple question. As a fan, as a longtime fan, do you think the infatuation with celebrity coaches disrupted the progress of career coaches for a while, and now it's getting back settled into where it should be?
Ain't no question. I think it did. Ain't no question. And with the success Dion had, then all of a sudden everybody went out, and he's been gone now 5 years. So any celebrity coach on him hasn't won except but one, and that was my man at Delaware State. To be honest, I still think that's in question. But you only can beat the people on your schedule, and you only can play who you play. And sometimes fans no matter who you play, as long as you win football games.
Coach, but Coach, I'm gonna push back a little bit in this regard,
You're the
Coach.
only participant in the conference.
In this regard, what he did at Delaware State is pretty impressive, being that it was at Delaware State. You know what I mean? Like that's the only thing I push back on. Of course, no, he didn't win a championship. No, he didn't go to the Celebration Bowl. But where Delaware State was when he got the program versus where he took it in 1 year, Coach, I don't even think it should be the jury shouldn't be out on him. We have to accept that Deshaun Watson is a pretty good coach. Like I think that's something. Excuse me, Deshaun Jackson. My bad. But go ahead, Mr. Campbell. I just wanted to say that one.
I want to ask you something because I think, and we touched on this just a little bit, and Rocky touched on this, but I want to ask you. So, of course, there was a new injunction that came down that gave kids that basically ended their eligibility last year where they could come back and play. How hard is that? So I was just looking, and I made a joke, and I said I said Jordan Grable, but I was talking about Ashton Grable. Ashton Grable was an all-conference player for us. He graduated. How hard, if you saw guys like that, and they've graduated, and they're just kind of figuring out life, how hard would it be to bring a kid back that played for you last year? That was a leader and an all-conference type player.
I mean, man, as a coach, it would be a great feeling to get a guy like that can only play, can lead your team, comes in, you know, if he has a great attitude, he knows the ropes, he can become a leader, and he'll fill a void that you thought that you had to fill. So now you might take that number 2 guy, and now, you know, he went from number 1, but the number 1 guy is able to come, then you can move that guy to the other side. You know what I mean? And just be stronger. You know, I think for a coach, man, you know, when you lose them good ones, you always wish that you had them back. Not only just on the field, but off the field as well. You know, it's real important. You know, like Ted White said, it's really important about working the culture. It's real important about everybody working together and being on the same page. That helps you win as well. So if I could gather a player back, man, that sure enough can make things happen, man, I would welcome it with open arms.
You know, the first guy that came to mind for me, Mr. Campbell, was Kevin Coleman that was the freshman of the year in the SWAC in 2022. Now, I think he either took a free agent deal. He may have even been drafted by the Dolphins. But I was wondering, like, he's a guy that's probably going to make, even if he's a 3rd-round pick, he's probably going to make let's just say he makes $800,000 or $900,000 a year. That's a guy that probably, if he gets have another year of eligibility to the right school, he could get upwards of a couple $1 million.
See, that was the trick that they did, though, which was really sneaky. And I saw why they did it. You can't transfer to another school. You can only go back to the school you left. So that was the thing that,
wow.
To your point, that would have changed the whole landscape, because you had a bunch of guys that would have been like, okay, I'm going here, I'm going there.
Even as a graduate, you can't?
You cannot. So the way the rule is, you could only go back to the school that you last had eligibility with.
Okay.
So you got to go back to your last school. So he'd have to go. He was at Mississippi State last?
No. I don't want to say he was at Louisville last.
Louisville? So he'd have to go back to Louisville. He'd have to go back to Louisville.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that I thought when I saw this, right? That I thought guys, because I was like, listen, fam, you need to call everybody that was all SWAC and say, hey, if you sitting at home, which all of them are, and honestly, because a lot of them are not on, you know, in camps. So why not come back and play and get you a grad degree from FAMU? But then that's when I saw the addendum where it said only players that played. So again, you look at all those guys that Prairie View had that left. Yeah, if I'm Cam Peters, I'm trying to come back.
I don't think Cam Peters was 22. I don't think he was 22. I don't think he was 22. I think he was 21. Okay. I think he was playing his 5th year.
Playing his 5th year? Okay.
So, but we got a call. Let's go ahead and take this caller. Caller, you're live on HBCU Coaches Corner. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah. You guys can hear me just fine?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Coach. Go ahead, guy. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yo, this is Keep It Up, fam, man. I just wanted to say, as far as the celebrity power and everything that I've been talking about, as far as the chat is concerned. Mm-hmm. Now, you forgot to mention Eddie George, which also had success within a 4-year window before being the head coach at Bowling Green. So that makes 3 out of 4 figureheads that have been hired that have had success in some form. 3 out of 4, with Marshall Falk being the 5th. Now, not saying that he's going to have success, but let's just hypothetically says that he fails within a 4-year window. That'll still be 3 out of 2 figureheads that have had success in HBC football in comparison to traditional hires that have been under 500 that have not had success. So besides the name that we casually know. So go ahead.
So are you comparing Eddie George's trajectory to Deshaun Watson and Deion's trajectory?
Deshaun Jackson?
Deshaun Jackson, yes.
I'm comparing it because of the conference. You got to look at it like this. Deshaun Jackson played, yes, at a worse team in Delaware State in the MEAC.
What I'm saying, it took Eddie George 4. What I'm saying is, it took Eddie George 4 seasons to have a winning season. I think
in the OVC conference. Go ahead.
And I think any career competent coach, given 4 seasons, can come up with 1 winning record. Don't you think, Coach Cole? I'll let you talk about it.
Not only that. All right. Not only that is they average 2,500 people a game by the time he won the championship. They had 2,500, and it was I think it was a 4-way championship. So yes, as a celebrity guy, quote unquote, he did win a championship in 4 years. But don't money, fan base, season tickets, don't he supposed to bring that? They lost money. He made more money than they made as a football program from playing
because of the lack of support. Because of the lack of support from the university. And when I tweeted this, he retweeted it. And he liked the post on Twitter. So he knew exactly where I was going. When you don't have...
Well, he needs to tell the truth.
Go ahead.
He needs to tell the truth. Yo, he brought Powerhouse. He brought money behind him at first, but they done so bad that it never paid off. All the money he paid his coaches, all the money he paid himself, it never equaled out, even finally when he won at the end. Tennessee State lost on that deal.
Let me ask you this, keep it up, fam. What did Eddie George bring that a career coach could not bring?
An Ohio Valley Conference championship and a win over a top 10 FCS team in the national polls. No other figurehead was able to do so. And since his hire, no other figurehead has been able to get close.
Listen what I'm saying. A career coach could have done all of that. What I'm saying, what did he do as a celebrity that a career coach could not have done?
A traditional hire. When you're talking career coach, we're talking traditional hire versus figurehead hire. Again, let me finish. He beat in SEMO a top 10 FCS national team in the conference as a figurehead, despite not having true support from leadership and from his alumni groups. He won despite them and still got an FBS head coaching job at the next level.
It benefited Eddie George. It benefited Eddie George far more than it benefited the university.
Ask the students and the student athletes if it benefited him more than it benefited them. And you'll get an entirely different answer because of what he was able to provide. I'm not going to say that it was a transformative hire for the entire university and the city's economic impact. That's not what I'm saying. But when you don't have the support from your alumni bases or from your leadership that a typical HBCU coaching hire would have, like a Grays at a FAMU, like a TC Taylor, like a Jackson State, it makes it that much harder to win consistently, especially when playing against the better teams like SEMO and Montana, in which he was able to hang with despite all of the obstacles that he was able to overcome while becoming an FBS head coach.
Do you know Eddie George's career record?
Jermaine Jackson?
Do you know Eddie George's career record? As a head coach?
Career record?
As a head coach.
What I do know for a fact is that he was able to win the Ohio Valley Conference, which is a much harder conference than the MEAC and the SWAC.
So did 3 other schools that year.
Yeah, it was a 4-way tie.
So did 3 other schools win that year.
But yet and still,
half the conference
HBCU,
won,
which is an underfunded university. He was still, without the support of leadership, he was still able to win the conference, which is a much harder conference, be a top 10 FCS team, right, in SEMO, and hang with the top 5 team in Montana in the college football playoffs. That was not supposed to happen. That was not in the cards because he was not supposed to win it all. Given the circumstances that he was working with, you put any traditional hire in his place and they are not winning. That includes TC, that includes Tremaine.
I'm not going to even let him get that through because he don't know what they would have done if they had been given that opportunity. But unfortunately, Tremaine didn't get the opportunity till last year. TC didn't get the opportunity till after Dion left. So you don't have any idea how those guys would have done. My point is saying this, and I'll ask you guys, did Eddie George do anything that Tennessee State could not have gotten from a career coach?
And I would say no, because I was at Tennessee State, And when we got there, wasn't no alumni support. We didn't even have balls and whistles, Campbell. We didn't even have lights worked in the stadium. We didn't even have a locker room that we made and painted and put together. And we won 2 Ohio Valley Conference championships.
Did Eddie George build an indoor practice facility?
Back to back. No, sir.
Did he get a new stadium built?
He had an indoor facility when he got there. We had no indoor facility.
Did he get the locker rooms upgraded or something like that while he was there? My question to you
was move the office over to one of the dormitories on 2 floors.
My question to you, Mr. Campbell, is what is there? How is Tennessee State better because Eddie George was there?
They worse off.
This is the only thing I can say. He did. I mean, I do remember that was an improvement with the weight room. I think they got a whole bunch of weights and stuff like that. Coach knows about the building itself. I'm not going to talk about that because I can't speak on that. I will say what Eddie George did do, and I think we all agree, that he got them back to winning. He did do that.
Absolutely.
He walked out a winner. As Coach said, he walked out a winner. So to me, that's all you could ask somebody to do. But I think the other things intrinsically that Coach is talking about, the fundraising part, the alumni coming to the football games and stuff, that didn't happen. That just did not happen.
Season tickets was all-time low. They have 2,000, 2,500 people. Do you know how many we had at homecoming when I was there? We had 44,000. So don't tell me that if Eddie would have came out winning, by the time he won the SWAC championship, Coach, that it would have been people everywhere.
I guarantee you, if Chennis Berry was at Tennessee State, he'd win it.
Hey, caller that just dropped off. You can call back. I was just about to bring you out. Caller with the last 4, 8310. You're live on HBCU Coaches Corner.
What's going on, Rocky? It's Lionel.
Hey, what's up, Lionel? How you doing, man? Thank you for calling in this evening.
Doing good. Yeah, I was just saying, I think in order to really, really have a conversation, I think it probably needs to be more deep dive into the actual numbers and actual records, right? You know what I'm saying? I kind of think one was just kind of thrown at the wall right now, but we actually put it all down on paper and look at it. We're going to really be able to give an accurate assessment. So that was the first thing I'm saying. The other thing is, I don't think we should knock Eddie George for winning a championship, regardless if it's a shared championship or not. I mean, since Cole, Tennessee State ain't sniffed nothing, right? So I don't think it's kind of, I kind of feel like it's kind of off a little bit to say, well, what did he do that another coach couldn't do? Well, he won, right? Like he definitely was moving them in the direction where they won a conference championship that they tied for, right? Now the next step would be them winning outright. But when is the last time that happened at Tennessee State? I don't think that's something to just like overlook as if that's nothing, right? You know what I mean? And I'm not a celebrity coach guy, right? So to be clear, I don't think that majority of schools, almost no school, really need no celebrity coach, in my opinion, right? I think that's very overblown, right? But I'm just speaking specifically to Eddie, and like, I don't think we should knock the fact that he's winning and act like that's not nothing. We literally just talked about the most important thing is winning like 5 minutes ago, right? You know what I'm saying? But now Eddie George winning, and we almost knocking that down like that's not important.
No. What I was saying,
know,
are we going to compare what he did at Tennessee State? The gentleman tried to compare it to Deshaun Jackson and Deion Sanders. And I'm saying, why would you do that? I think what Deion Sanders did was quite remarkable. You know, in that he lost he went undefeated 2 seasons in a row in his conference. Like, and then Deshaun Jackson, you know, went 8-4 at Delaware, considering who Delaware State was. Like I don't think we can put Eddie George in that category. That's all I'm saying.
And let me say this.
He may not be in that category, right? Because those guys won so quick. But I'm going to stay in the sense of, we also got to take note that, man, how many career coaches did not win a championship over 3-4 years? We're not including that either. Yeah, you should. The expectation is your 3rd, 4th year. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to jump in here. The guy had no head coaching experience. So let's talk about the celebrity ship. He didn't even want the job, number one. And they ended up hiring him. They gave him top dollar. He was the highest coach in FCS. I'm talking about the payoff. I ain't talking about a championship, my 5th year there, this tri-champs. I'm talking, what is the payoff? The payoff to bringing a celebrity coach, he's never coached before. So him winning the championship, to me, ain't really high on the list. You know what I mean? It's that he's going to come in and bring all this attention, season tickets up, people, knocking the door down to come and see this guy, right? Well, 4 years go by, he wasn't even having winning seasons. It was taking the team, the program down to the ground. Okay, he jumps up his last year and he wins. But at the end of the day, and then he does what? Departs. So where did Tennessee State in the football program win? Besides a championship. No money, no season tickets, nothing. And they spent all this money. His staff made more money than everybody. He made more money than anybody in FCA AA. So where did Tennessee State win at? Only a tri or quad championship, OVC championship.
This is what we were arguing. This is what we were. It has nothing. And I want to be clear because I wasn't trying to Eddie George. The argument was he made. See, that's why I think we got off point. And get back to his point, which he brought up. He was literally saying that people like that were equal to Trey Oliver, T.C. Taylor, and folks like that. And
Tremaine.
That's what he was comparing it to. That's how the conversation started. So it was not a trash Eddie George. What I was saying that the Chennis Berries, the TC Taylor, they have actually, I said they won championship. The whole thing started with the celebrity coach. I said, how many of them in the Celebration Bowl era has won a championship? None of them had. I said the guys that were homegrown have won it. That's what the argument was. It was nothing against Eddie George and what he did at Tennessee State, because in the end he walked out. That was the discussion. Now that can't be argued. Celebrity coaches, 0. Guys that came up through the ranks, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's facts. So now you argue with your mama on that. That's what my discussion was, not me talking about what Eddie was.
Man, I wasn't trying to disparage Eddie George at all.
Right. All these guys won in their first year now. All these guys won in their first year. Their first year they won. So what? As long as they stay, season tickets going up. The interest of the football court. The school is winning. Now they winning.
And Lionel, would you rather have, you got to understand, would you rather have the results of a Chennis Berry or the results of a Eddie George? That's essentially what we're balancing out here.
That's fine. All I'm doing is trying to bring some context, right? Because everything looks pretty when you look on the hot side, but if you really want to judge and actually give an accurate assessment, you can't just talk about the career coaches who won quickly, right? You also got to include in that information the career coaches who never won. The career coaches who went 3-4 years and never got their program off the mat. That also has to be included too. And I'm not saying this because I support celebrity coaches, as I said before. I don't even agree with that. I don't think majority of these programs don't even need to go that route in the first place.
Lionel, right? Can I point out
something? Saying, if we're going to be honest about it, you have to also include those coaches who were career coaches who never wanted their program.
Lionel, I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to let you go. How many career coaches that have been hired that's been given 4 years to turn it around?
Hey, are we talking about over the course of time? Or
I'm talking about the last 5 years.
Alonzo Hampton.
Okay, we're talking about the last 5 years. Everything has completely moved and is moving different, right, over the last 5 years, right? But I mean, if you're looking over the course of a period of time, then obviously you're going to have a different assessment. But things have changed completely in how long coach stays. We've been talking about for the last 5 years. So that's going to be a completely different conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how
many of them get paid more money than anybody in college football?
No career coaches.
Experience.
Hey, Lionel, thank you for calling, man. I got 2 more calls, man. Let me get this guy right here. With the last 4 of 3762. What's your name and where you calling from?
What's up, Unc? It's Keep Things Up podcast, man. I'm never here for the celebrity coaches because for me, I do love the mention of the totality of things. And Tallahassee native, Bobby Ballin's house is literally around the corner, or the house he had. But when you just talk about even the legends of coaching, FBS, FCS, Division I, Division II, Division III, independent, very seldom do you mention that a celebrity coach won a national championship at any level, and even at the HBCUs. And I think one of the things we're always sold with the inflection and the influence of a celebrity coach is just that, their influence. And as Coach Cole pointed out, very few of them have given the Deion Sanders effect that he had at Jackson State, where you show the things that were left behind. And it wasn't just because of him. Ashley Robinson is old dude. That alumni base is old dude. He, as you mentioned, he was able to really put a lightning bolt into that and into that alumni base and really reinvigorate them, because they had been down for a while. Whereas you look at other places, a lot of times, even you look at FAMU, and I don't have to tell Uncle Steve that list our number of NFL celebrities that are quote unquote FAMU celebrities that came back to be coaches, is normally not a success story. We do have NFL coaches that had success, Billy Joe, but the majority of your coaches that have that NFL experience that then all of a sudden skip line tend not to be successful. I mean, you talked about Tremaine Jackson. Tremaine Jackson was at Valdosta State and did his thing. He applied for the FAMU job, should have got it. So you start looking, a lot of these coaches who have kind of come through, they are better for it. They have a better understanding. They have a better pedagogy when it comes to coaching. Look at Quinn Gray. The Quinn Gray that I grew up with as a football player and the Quinn Gray that I remember when he coached at my high school is not the Quinn Gray that I know now as coaching at FAMU. So I think there's something to be said about celebrity coaches are supposed to offer you more than just wins and losses. That's not what they're coming there for.
Absolutely.
They're selling you an entire package that you're supposed to get.
It's supposed to be exposure, fundraising, raise your profile as an institution. It's all those that, hey, man, thank you for calling, man. We got several people on the line. Let me get the next caller at 0229. You're live on HBCU Coaches Corner. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Kenya.
Hey, how you doing, Kenya? Thank you for coming.
Can you hear me?
Hold on, no. Let me mute you, buddy. Go ahead, Kenya.
Yes. I'm trying to get myself familiar with SWAC. I just feel like the possibilities of building it and making it something that can counter other business, other football, but attendance. I've watched SWAC basketball on one of the channels here in Milwaukee. Now it was last year. I don't see it no more. I look on Saturday and they took it off. But I found that the attendance is terrible. What can we do? We need to do something to get the students in the seats. It was SWAC basketball what I saw. And the attendance, I feel like, is lousy. So I'll just hang up and listen to what y'all say.
Let me take that. So shout out to Milwaukee. I'm in Milwaukee all the time. Appreciate that. Milwaukee's a great city. Here's the thing. SWAC basketball, and Coach Cole knows it. Coach played basketball, so he knows this, has always had a hard time drawing. But one of the biggest problems with SWAC basketball has always been the schedule. The schedule does not constitute having the games where people can get to it. It has always been a problem. Now they've got the new schedule, the Tuesday, Thursday, and the women are not playing and things like that. So there's always been a struggle. And also, too, the majority of our schools are football schools. So we traditionally, and Coach, you correct me if I'm wrong, Texas Southern, Alcorn. Who else would you say in the SWAC was a quote unquote that had a basketball pedigree?
Texas Southern is in the top 10 winningest basketball programs, bar none, in Division 1A. Texas Southern is. So,
but no, I'm saying, but who else other than them and Alcorn that you would even say
Southern
and Southern?
Yes.
Well, there you go. So think about that. So that's 3 schools. Houston is a basketball city, a major city. New Orleans is right there, basketball. So when you're talking about an Alcorn, like I said, they're great with Dave Whitney. So that has always been the problem that they've been trying to figure. And I mean, like I said, Coach knows since he played, they've always tried to figure out how could we get basketball to be better. And I think one of the things, to me, what they have got to do, and I understand this, and Dr. McClellan, I know you watch this, but we need to have like the ACC and the Big East. We need to have rivalry weeks. We need to have that week where it's nothing but the rivals playing each other to build that up. So it needs to be Saturday. It should be nothing but rivals playing. But what happens is you literally have FAMU and Bethune-Cookman playing, Coach, like when school was out. You're not going to get anybody at the game. That game should be just like North Carolina and Duke. North Carolina and Duke play in the middle of the season and at the end of the season. FAMU and Bethune-Cookman should be the same way. Jack State and Alcorn should be the same way. We have natural rivalries that can fit the basketball landscape to build a basketball program. But if you're bringing a rivalry game and it's doing when the kids out, you can't build a rivalry game.
Yeah, our rivalry game was Prairie View. I think one of the other things.
And what he said, well, I tell you what, you know better than me. I ain't never been to a game where everybody was like, "Oh, it's off the chain." And when you went to Southern, which Coach we said was a basketball school. So
yeah. I'm not going to argue with you. I think we can get more quality coaches in there. I think they need to market it better. You know, we've had with Whitney and I can't call my man's name, was down at Southern. We had some good coaches. We had Ben Job, Tuskegee. He won down there. He won at Southern University. And I think we can market it better. I think our and then, you know, like you said, we play on Tuesday night, and then we'll play on a Friday night, and we'll play on a Saturday night, or Tuesday and a Saturday, I think, you know, back when we played. And you know, we have more people on the Saturday game than the Tuesday night game. You know, so you know, I just think we need to market it better.
All right, guys, we got one more call. Hey, last 4-2269. I need you to turn your background sound down, where we don't hear your TV or your iPad or whatever you listen on, and just listen to us on the phone. All right. You're live on HBCU Coaches Corner. What's your name and where you calling from?
What's happening, man? It's Musa calling in from Philadelphia on the East Coast. Yo, I just called to let everybody know it's official. Bruce Eugene is back at my alma mater at Grambling State. I think he was the offensive coordinator. So Swag better be watch out. I'm just putting you on alert. I just seen it's official. So yeah,
now your phone is a bit distorted. I don't know if you under the cover talking or what. What'd you say your name was, bro?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just called to say that Bruce Eugene is back at Grambling. He's the offensive coordinator, I believe. I just seen that it was official, so I called to put the Swag on alert.
And what's your name?
My name Musa. I'm Musa from Philadelphia on the East Coast. I played for Grambling back like 15 years ago.
Okay, Musa.
So did you play with Bruce?
He was already headed towards the NFL when I was coming in, but I seen like one of his games.
You know his eligibility is up. You know his eligibility is up, right? You know he ain't gonna take no snaps, right? You know he's not gonna make one pass this season.
Man, tell that man you a G-man. Tell that man you a G-man, Musa. Don't let that man talk to you like that. Tell him you wore that G when you was winning. No.
What I'm saying is, so what kind of impact you think Bruce Eugene will make? Like what's going to be his impact? Him just showing up is going to make Grambling better. What kind of impact will he make? Again, when you say Bruce Eugene is back, everybody on notice. Well, is that like Debo riding a little motorcycle, the little bike through the neighborhood? Everybody got to start putting the chains in and everything. What is he gonna do? What is he going to do to create a more formidable Grambling team?
Rocky, you own him, baby. You own
No.
Let me answer the question.
Go ahead. Answer, Musa.
No. All right. So for one, I don't think people know he had one of the highest scoring Wonderlic tests in NFL history. So that's a testing your IQ. So I'm not even talking about his ability. I'm talking about just from a thinking process. One of the biggest things Grambling struggle with quarterbacks is decision making. So that's off the bat. That's going to go up immediately, like, because he can see things that a normal coach that never played quarterback can't see at a high level. So even if it ain't translate to wins, the quarterback play is going to be better. I'll guarantee you that now. You remember my name.
Hey, Musa, do you watch our show often? Obviously, you don't watch that show often. That's why I'm giving you a hard time. No,
I know you a J State fan.
No. See, you missing the point. You're missing the point. Bruce is our guy. Matter of fact, some would say Bruce is currently coaching in the SWAC because of us.
I agree with that. I agree.
You understand? My co-host, Johnny Cole, make dreams come true. Bruce came on this show last fall. Look up the show and said, "What did he tell you he wanted to do, Coach Cole?"
He wanted to go back to Grambling, man, and coach in the SWAC, really, but he preferred Grambling.
And where is he now, Coach?
At Grambling State University. I talked to him, what had been about 3 weeks ago. He told me that he was going to be there. Yeah. And Mickey Joseph.
Okay. Do you think that's an accident, Musa?
So you a Grambling fan?
No. I'm a fan of people. And I'm a Bruce Eugene fan. And matter of fact, Bruce is a great guy, and I wish him nothing but the best. But when you say we back, Bruce Eugene is back, we back. What the hell does that mean? That don't mean Bruce threw for 56 touchdowns 1 year. That ain't gonna help y'all none this upcoming season.
Okay, we'll see. I'll call back.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
Hey, Rocky. And make sure y'all share, the calls in these areas they calling in. Share the show and make sure that we get opportunity to
Hey, Rocky, let me do something real quick, because this is what you call a segue. Because guess what? On HBCU Coaches Corner tomorrow, Grambling's head coach Mickey Joseph. And how about this, Rocky? On my way back from Tallahassee, I actually talked to Bruce Eugene. So we might have a special person to come on tomorrow with Coach Joseph. So tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Coach Cole, Rocky, me, and guess what? The G-Man, Mickey Joseph.
Mr. Campbell, I'm going to ask you this, Coach, live on air. There's a quarterback at FAMU right now. I hope y'all got him locked up on a multiple-year contract.
Okay, can I tell it? Okay, let me tell this story. Let me tell you different about when you brag different. So, met Bruce. Bruce, great guy. He said, "Hey, Mr. Campbell, I got one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Georgia." So I drive on down there to Locust Grove. Did my evaluation and stuff like that. Went back down there one more time. I called old coach and said, "Hey, listen, this is one of the best quarterbacks in Georgia. He can sling it. So he comes down there, and he would come to the Jack State FAMU game where we get curb stomped. But that's okay, though, because we showed him a good time. So Coles is in between. I don't know. We'll see. So needless to say, we got Quinn Grant there. He talked to Bruce. Bruce said, "Listen, it's one of the baddest kids I've ever coached." He became a rattler. You know what he was, Rocky? The most improved player in the spring game.
Hey, Coach, not to mention this, he go from I don't know to reporting early. How did that happen? I think the coach changed.
Thank you. And then how about this? So we had our freshman send-off. He came out there with the big arm, introduced to all the big-time alums. He already getting NIL deals, Rocky. Look, supposed to make sure he was going to be all right down there, because that's what we do. Had him meet the vice president, Dr. Hudson. Dr. Hudson said, "Young man, come see me. Make sure you get them grades up. I got a little something extra for you."
Hey, only thing I'm going to say, Quinn Gray better get his phone and put Bruce on block.
Now, listen. Grambling can't offer that, my boy. My boy, I got an NIL. Yeah, I got it. Because of Uncle Steve, the Rattlers. He already well known. Man, even the old folks already making sure he's taken care of. Come on, man. Listen, that boy ain't trust me when I say he ain't thinking about Grambling.
Hey, if he ain't thinking about Grambling, it ain't got nothing to do with the coaching. I hear y'all have other amenities on the highs of Seven Hills that keep young men occupied.
That Alma met some of our very prestigious alums, and he's well taken care of. He's in good shape.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time, because I know you and Bruce worked that situation out where he was able to get on FAMU's radar, and it worked out for that young man. And like I say, Bruce is a friend of the show, man. Bruce is a friend of the show.
I literally talked to Bruce today.
And we all hope that Bruce does a great job, because this is a dream come true for Bruce. And so, you know, whatever part we played, now I'm really joking about us, you know, being instrumental on him becoming a Grambling coach. But the fact of the matter, Coach, Mickey Joseph came on here, got hired at Grambling. You know, we get coaches' jobs, Coach. Coach, you get coaches' jobs, don't you? That's just how it go.
You know, it's good to, you know, these coaches that come on the show get a chance to show people who they are and their philosophies, and you know, you just don't have that. It's really an interview coming on, you know, these shows. You know what I'm saying? And you know, guys, I'm really looking, and I hate to say it, you know, T-Jack ain't gonna be around long. You know what I mean? And it ain't just because I show shit here, like you said, Coach. Hell, he on every day. He talking on somebody's show every day, you know, of letting folks know who he is. And, you know, Ted White, I mean, man, Ted White is a professional, just outstanding. You know, Eddie Robinson, professional. T.C. Taylor, you know what I'm saying? These guys are, you know, Cedric Thomas, you know, another good one that has ideals and what they want to do and how to do things, you know what I mean? So it just give people time, opportunity to find out, you know, who they are and what they believe in and their philosophy and running a program.
I got one last thing. One thing, Rocky, real quick. To all my Grambling people, if you ever call in, you stick your chest out and tell them that you're a G-man. Don't let nobody who had his kid go to Prairie View bully y'all like that anymore. That's unacceptable. I am tired of watching Prairie View all of a sudden bully Grambling folks. I've never seen this, Coach. Never seen this. You got PV people bullying Grambling folks. I want that G to stand up. I know y'all better than that down there. Come on now.
No, Bruce, no, Mr. Kelm, I wasn't bullying him, but he act like the whole swag supposed to be shook.
That's what he's supposed to say. He a G-man. Bruce a G-man. That's what he's supposed to say. He said he's a transformative offense.
Coach. Now Bruce do know where the bathroom is, and he do know where the locker room is. So and he's at home. So I think that will be a great. He won't spend much time getting acclimated. He knows where everything is. And Bruce, and maybe Mickey will tell us tomorrow how that all unfolded for him to be able to bring Bruce Eugene back to Grambling, because some things had to happen, and they had to happen fast.
And he will bring alumni back. He will put a spark into that program, and if he's successful, there's only bright days for him down the road, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and drop off, and y'all can wrap.
Man, I just want to thank everybody, but go ahead, Campbell. You can.
Hey, man, one last thing. I see my boy Zoe in the chat, man. Listen, go back and watch the Sipping on Sundays. We put up the QR code to bless Zoe and his lovely wife for their honeymoon. Go back and check that out real quick. It's at the beginning of the show, at the end of the show. Proud of you, Zoe. Thank you for coming on watch. I know you having that little late period before you go back and you and your wife, you know, consummate your honeymoon and all those good stuff. But I'm really proud of that young man. You know, man, Zoe's like a little brother to me. So I'm really happy for him and things like that. But we will be back next weekend. Because like I said, we got all these coaches. So you know what? Sipping on Sundays took a little hiatus to get all these coaches in. But we will be back next weekend. Zoe will be on vacation, but I'm going to bring a couple of special people on to bring in the new year. But, Coach, that's all I got. Once again, Mickey Joseph tomorrow, HBCU Coaches Corner, Coach Cole, me, Rocky, and probably Bruce Eugene if we can get them on.
Ain't no question. Man, I like guys to continue to thank you every night, staying up with us. You know, we going back and forth. A lot of our stuff is opinionated like yours, you know, but we have a little facts. We kind of know some of the coaches, and we get a chance to really, really talk to them behind closed doors. But what I like for you guys to do is make sure that you share the show, continue to watch us, get your friends involved, like you to start calling in more. We want to take more call-ins, and we want you to join a membership. Continue to watch Sipping on Sunday. Continue to watch the Rocky Miller Show, and of course, continue to watch the HBCU Coaches Corner, led by myself and two great gentlemen, Bishop Campbell and Rocky Miller. Thank you. And as I say, man, I went to the gas tank this last night, and I pulled up, and gas here in Arizona was $4.55. Man, it made me so sick. I just closed my tank, man, and kept on going. So if you feel yourself at the end of the road, tie a knot and hold on tight, because ain't nobody bad like you.